Hello, how's everyone doing? Couldn't do one of these earlier because I was really sick. I think I got like the flu from going to the not from going to the U.S., but probably from like airplane, virus. I don't know. So I hadn't been feeling well. So I think I'm going to do these two today because I haven't been able to work on this one. So it's good. It's a good excuse to do a couple of hands. Very small hands, though. I mean, it's going to be a little difficult to paint these, but let's go for it. I'm not going to start, right off the bat with the hands, though. I have to paint what's kind of surrounds them. So I'm going to start doing that. But it's good to see you guys. Good to get back to these little paintings again. And again, forgive my voice, but I'm almost out of it. So good. I think I'm going to use these, although I should be using probably some other bigger brushes, but no, I think we'll be fine with these. Let's see. And palette is going to be, I'm sorry for the terrible palette, but so it's going to be titanium white, like that cadmium yellow lemon, and cadmium red. I had alizarin. I don't know. I had it for the last palette. I don't know if I'm going to use it too much today. I'll let you know. I'll let you guys know if I use it. Cobalt blue light and raw umber. So let's use that, which is usually what I use for the palette. So I'm going to start doing this over here, and then I'll go for the hands. Probably this one first and that one second, because I got to change that drawing. That drawing is terrible. So we'll see. I had a workshop in Tennessee that went really, really well. Everyone was like super, super kind, very nice people. So I'm very glad. I'm really, really glad. I did get like food allergies over there. So there was one night that I was just covered in like, I broke out like all my arms, like my belly, my legs. It was like really bad. I have no idea what I ate. But that was fine. Next day was great. And then the day that I was flying home, I got really sick. I got super sick. And I don't get sick often. I get sick like once every like 3 years or something like that. So it was bugging me like crazy. This is going to be a light shirt, so I'm just kind of scrubbing color. Again, no medium. We're not going to use any medium today. But it was an excellent workshop. And one of the days in the workshop, during one of the days, I tried to use an alkyd medium that I had brought with me, and it smelled terrible. I mean, it didn't smell bad, because usually those things have like a really nice smell, but it was really, really strong, like a really strong smell. So I'm kind of going to go over that hand because I know I'm going to make it smaller. For some reason, I made it really big. I get super excited with the size of the hands when I'm painting them. But that one got a little out of control, and I made him a little too big. But it got really, really bad when I was working, the smell. And I felt terrible for the people there because it was a big space even, but I was the only one that was trying out that medium that day. And it made me realize, like, because my whole philosophy during the workshop was not, I'm trying to promote this idea that you don't use any solvents while you paint. And, you have to accept that there's a bunch of things that you're not going to be able to do when you decide not to use solvents. But the benefits, I think, outweigh the possibilities that you have. The benefits of not working, and particularly the health benefits of not working with solvent, really outweigh the possibilities in terms of technique that you gain from working with one. That's what I've come to realize with my own paint, that it's not really worth it, Like, granted, you're not able to do like scumbling or glazing, but it's just that smell is so strong. And I always tell people, because people are like, well, Gamsol doesn't smell. I'm sorry, but if it's a solvent, it's bad for you. It doesn't work that way, that something just that doesn't smell is not as harmful as something that does smell. Nope, it doesn't work that way. If it's able to dilute, paint off your brushes, if you're able to clean your brushes and your palette with that thing, then it's not good for you. It doesn't matter if it smells like orange or roses. It doesn't matter. If it's able to strip paint down from your palette and your brushes, then it's terrible, And regardless of the smell, regardless of if it smells. And the sad thing, because it is sad, is that there's a ton of great things that can be done with medium. So we would be accepting that, none of those things would be part of our paintings. So again, it's like a conscious choice that we have to make, but I really do think that it's better. It's really better if we don't. So I'm not going to really develop this shirt. Not for now. I'll probably paint it later on. But I just need the value of it. And, there's some darker areas over here underneath the fingers. But for now, I'm not gonna worry about those that much. I just need that value. Remember, when we paint something, we can't just paint it against nothing. We paint it against something else so that we can judge those relationships better. So that's why I always start with, if I want to paint the hands, like in this case, I paint what surrounds the hands first, so that my judgment can be a little more educated when I put those, the the values and the colors that are going to be part of the hands first. And I'm looking at my reference, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to change the drawing not quite a bit. It's not going to be very different, but I think that I'm going to make subtle changes. It's going to change in very small ways, but significant ways, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. With this one, yeah. It's so funny. I make these really kind of tight pencil drawings, and then when I start painting, I'm like, oh my God, what was I doing? But yeah, workshop in Tennessee, amazing. People that attended, super nice, very funny. People in charge of it, Stan and Peggy, amazing, really nice people. It's so cool when you can actually do what you love. In my case, combining painting and teaching, and you meet really nice human beings that are behind those efforts. Doesn't get better than that, to be honest. So I'm covering all of that because I'm still, I'm not happy with that drawing, not at all. We'll see. I mean, I'm always of the philosophy that with hands, it's always better to make them bigger. They kind of are almost designed to work as such an expressive part of your body that if you make them bigger, you're just emphasizing that quality. So let's say in a sculpture, in a Rodin sculpture, you know, they're always super big, super big, and they look amazing. So I'd much rather them look bigger than smaller. But sometimes you have to be a little bit sensitive with what you're doing, and I think I was missing it. Yeah, they're a little too much. I'll get to the hands. I know I'm working like right, you know, almost like on the satellite areas of those hands, but I really need these. I know it almost seems like caprice that I'm not going for the hands right away. But trust me when I say, guys, like if I don't do these, I can't make as educated choices as I would want to when I go for the hands. So this is almost like warm-up just to get to those hands. Okay, but I'm almost there. Almost there. This is just paint, and this is just me kind of scrubbing the paint. So even without medium, since there's oil, enough oil in paint, you can really. Hola Dani, un beso. I've been struggling with the solvent issue. I know two artists who spent decades using solvents, and both ended up with leukemia. Whoa! I don't know if leukemia is. I don't know if they are. If enough studies have been made to link solvents with cancer, but I would certainly, like respiratory issues and allergy issues, there's tons. I mean, it's inevitable. It's a solvent, so it is irritant, highly irritant. So I wouldn't know. I can't say I know if it's tied with cancer, though. But again, you know, when you take it off your practice, you know at first you kind of miss it because you are not going to be able to use traditional mediums, but eventually you realize that it's not, you know, you weren't missing that much. Okay, I'm gonna get to this drawing, to the kind of drawing of this hand, because the biggest thing that I'm noticing that's different with my reference is that I'm making it straight, and it actually breaks. It actually breaks from the, ¿cómo se dice? Muñeca. Se nota que estoy enfermo porque no sé, from the wrist. Huepucha. I just forgot how to say wrist, so yeah, great. So it breaks at the wrist, but it actually changes direction slightly, and I think I'm missing that. It's very, very small, but I think it's quite nice. So I have to redraw that. So I'm going to use little sort of accents in the shadow to see if I can spot my drawing a little bit better. Let's see, and I'm using just a mix of all my primary colors to do this. So this is like shadow underneath the little plush toy there. So right now I'm just looking for distances. This is very nice. She has like a rubber band. So it's it's really useful because it describes the way her arm turns, and it actually kind of gives me the limit, you know, of where her wrist kind of breaks and changes direction. So it's quite useful. Let's see. So it actually breaks higher than I originally thought, and it actually goes more towards this side. See, so that's what I was talking about. Like I was going that way with the hand, but it just came here, and then it changed direction. And it makes for a nicer painting, I feel. So let's see. So that's the first thing. It's always a good reminder that even if your drawing is very nice, you always have to reevaluate it while you're painting. So that's good. Probably here. I always go from side to side. Never stick to one side of the form, too much. Always go from one side to the next, from one side to the next. So that's good. Let's see that. And this one breaks down here. And that looks okay. Yeah. And then this here. I think that's better. I think it's better. We'll see. Hi from Russia. Oh, hi from Colombia. Hi. So I think that's a little bit better. I think so. We'll see. I still haven't determined how long I kind of want to make those fingers. Maybe I'll cut them a little short, but for now it's okay. Okay. So the important thing with this is that I got to keep a value here, a lighter value here, then it changes value and it gets a darker, like a mid-tone here, and then this little finger there. It's great because it comes out again. So it's light, kind of dark. It's not quite a shadow, but it's darker. Then light again, and then dark again. It's very nice. It's it's almost like a staircase with hands. So that's pretty good. I think that's a lot better. Let's see. So I'm going to start not with the light. I'm going to start with the darker kind of midtones there. But they're still, I would hesitate to call them darks though. But they play the role of shadows in that hand. So, but I want to get to those. We'll see. So this one's really nice, and it has a ton of blue in it because there's so much sort of white surrounding it that it reflects. It kind of fills up all that shadow. So it's very, very cool right there. Not throughout the hand, but in that particular area, it's super cool. And in here, actually, it's a little bit too. And in here, it really reflects that light. So that part, it seems like a ton of fun. If I can really get that right, that looks like it's going to look really cool. But then in this middle area, it's warmer. It's a lot warmer. So we'll see that. Great to see you live and alive, I might add, and fantastic workshop in Chattanooga last week. Thank you. No, it was awesome. It was really awesome. People were you guys were really, really, really nice. So I'm always glad when I get to meet people, talented artists. You have fun working with them. You learn from everyone that's there. You share your knowledge, and hopefully you can do some good paintings. That's the toughest part. You're hoping that the little bit of time that you dedicate to doing the demos can be informative, can be really helpful to everyone. So so that's darker. This area is going to make a lot more sense when we do this lighter color here. Is that a type of medium in the upper left corner of your palette? Upper left. Upper left. No. Well, this is white. This one's white. Yeah. Palette has nothing strange. It's just a piece of plastic. And this is just an area. But no, I have no medium. I have no medium here. So no worries. If I use anything strange, I always let you guys know. So don't worry. But no, there's nothing different about what I'm doing right now. Different from you know, it doesn't differ from all the other painting sessions. So, let's see. So I'm trying to look for these little shapes. I'm trying to differentiate these tiny little moments of the hands that are, you know, either slightly warmer, slightly cooler. If they're slightly warmer, then I look for the hue. Then I go like, okay, they look more yellow or more red or more orange or more blue, more green. That's how I always sort of travel through a painting. So the quicker I can generate relationships, the better it is for the further relationships I make. So I think that's kind of good. Well, let me get to that. That thumb is actually a tiny bit darker. Couldn't see the white. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you were probably mistaking the white for some sort of medium. But yeah, no, there's nothing there. What's cool is that this is against a really dark here, but I'm going to wait till I kind of develop these little fingers here, and then I'm going to try to reshape my drawing with these darks around it. So that's the plan, I guess. I spotted like a darker gray behind the hand. Also, let me see if I can get that right now. It's just very little, but I think it'll help with the drawing again. I have to paint that edge a little bit better later, but kind of rework that edge. But I don't mind. I don't mind doing that. Like the whole point of painting is not just going straight to the edge of that form, but having color against color describe form. So I'll get back to that. Let's see. There's more space here than I thought in here. Okay, that's a little bit better. So I'll go for these lights. Should start making a difference. Should. I'm always hopeful that those moments that you're saving, you know, you kind of save up those values so that when you put them there, they kind of do something. And many times it's like, okay, drum roll, and you put them down and it's like, oh God, nothing happened. So that sort of happens. You want there to be like you know, trumpets playing, angels coming out like a big ass rainbow in the sky once you put that stroke down. And many times it's like blah blah, nothing. But you know, you have to work for those moments, and when you don't hit them, you know, then you start saying, okay, what happened? Because this should have worked. This should have kind of meant something while I was painting. So I'll get back to that little rubber band there. But for now, hola Nicolás, saludos desde España. Any news of crowdfunding? Sí, estoy haciendo, yo creo que lo que se va a poder hacer es el libro, este libro es lo que voy a hacer. Lo más probable es que eso se logre hacer dentro de muy poco tiempo, logre lanzar eso. Entonces, el que esté interesado como en, en la parte editorial de lo que quiero hacer, pues ese sí yo creo que lo vamos a lograr financiar. Entonces, ese estoy muy contento con esa noticia. La otra, la parte como pues digamos, educativa que quiero perseguir, esa sí, cada vez más y más estoy seguro que la voy a hacer es con un canal de YouTube. O sea, la voy a hacer, digamos, accesible a todo el mundo. Entonces, esto también es una noticia chévere. Sí creo que voy a hacerla, digamos, en ese sentido, gratis para la gente. Y pues encontraré otras maneras como de entender la financiación de ese tipo de proyectos. Pero sí, entonces sí creo que lo que voy a tratar de hacer es como el proyecto de editorial, sí lo voy a hacer. Lo voy a hacer mediante crowdfunding y el proyecto educativo lo voy a hacer mediante un canal. Entonces, vamos a ver. El libro va a estar en inglés o en español. Sería fantástico poderlo hacer en los dos idiomas. Lo que pasa es que si cada vez que imprimes en dos idiomas, pues son dos ediciones distintas. Entonces, pero honestamente el libro va a tener como un prefacio y de pronto algo escrito por mí y ya. O sea, no sería un libro educativo. No voy a venderles una idea de lo que no es mi libro. Mi libro va a ser una reproducción de este libro donde trabajo y voy a reproducir también unos dibujos, pero, o sea, va a ser como un libro de bocetos pues, bocetos, más bien llamémoslo un espacio pequeño donde hago pinturas, hago reflexiones sobre dibujo y pintura, llamémoslo así, suena más bonito. Pero pero no quiero que se confunda con un libro educativo. ¿Listo? Yo no lo he nunca contemplado así y pues algún día si quisiera hacer un libro como acerca de pintura, pues lo haré, pero este no sería el caso. Hello, may we look at the reference? Yeah, I've shown this reference picture, but I'll show it in the end, I promise. I always show it in the end. I don't have any, problems showing it in the end, so don't worry, I'll show it. So, as you can see, it's kind of working, because that did, that sort of did the trick, and these fingers also did the trick. That's a little too light for these two, but I'm fine with that. I'll check those in a little bit. And the important thing is to go from, that was nice, that dark to light to dark to light to dark. That rhythm is really, really important for those fingers to sort of make sense. So that's cool. And I have a darker dark over here also. I think I need some brushes, but no, these will be fine. And I have some darker darks over here that are going to help me a ton too. So let me see if I can start laying them down. I don't want to try and draw these fingers out entirely right now, but I'll just to show you guys, like there's going to be dark there, dark there. I think it's probably going to go up to there. That finger's probably, yeah, maybe it's probably going to go up to like here, maybe. There's a little dark there. And there's this one here. This one right over here. Like that. Yeah, so these are going to be helpful to like shape those little fingers down there. Great, cool. ¿Podemos ver la paleta mientras pintas? Podría, lo que pasa es que cuando muevo esta pintura abajo para que se vea la paleta, entonces a ustedes les queda toda la pintura encima del chat. O sea, el chat cubre toda la pintura. Entonces la gente se frustra mucho cuando no ven la pintura. Thanks, Simon. Thank you. You're very kind. Thanks. Entonces sí. Sí, entonces por eso la ubico así. Por hoy ubiquémosla así para que se pueda ver un poquitico más la mano que la paleta. Bueno. So these are those darks I was talking about. So all my surrounding values I think are working quite nice. Now I'm gonna go for some darks inside the hand, just some very very small darker darks. They're a little more intense inside the hand, and I think those will provide like a nicer range also. I'm hesitant to use that alizarin because I don't remember if I was using alizarin for her head. I don't think so. I can't spot anything that's very cool in there. So, but I may be wrong. Ugh, I forget. I had to put this one on hold for a while, so I'm mad at myself that I don't remember what palette I was using. But it doesn't seem like it. Just from looking at it, it doesn't seem like it. Remember that in your hands, your fingers they're not born at the same sort of distance, at the same, it's not in a line. It actually goes like that. So, and that makes a ton of a difference when you're actually spotting the places where just the finger sort of projects. There's a gesture to that origin, and it's a curve. It's a really nice curve that obviously peaks at this one moment in the middle finger, between middle and ring finger, and then it goes down between the ring and your pinky. So always remember that, because a lot of people just do these straight and it doesn't work. If you do that, then you kill the gesture of the hand. Okay. So I got that. I'm kind of spotting these. I think I'm drawing them out a little too much, but I'll get back to painting them with a closer value. Okay, that's better. Okay, cool. Is this from reference photo? Yeah. My kid is not playing dead right now. Yeah, she's yeah. I noticed something when we were working from at the workshop last week, and it is, we had a model that was just starting out, and she was doing this amazing effort in trying to stay still, and she had a pose that was a little tough for her to hold. She was trying to hold her whole body weight, and she was pushing herself to just hold her body weight on this one arm, because this pose actually sort of leaned into this one arm. And it was very hard for her. So she was able to hold that pose for maybe 5 minutes at a time, and then she would have to change. Sometimes it was even less. and she would just kind of stretch and go back to it. But it was so, I mean, it was so hard. It was so hard for me to watch, because I know that, you know, when models, they're starting out, they can, you know, they can make, you know, essentially a mistake like that, which is they don't really know their bodies well enough, so they take poses that are very strenuous, and they don't realize it in the first or second pose, but, you know, eventually they start noticing it, and felt really bad for her. But it also reminded me and everyone else that, you know, when you paint from life, you're painting people who are alive. I think there's a mistake. I think there's a huge mistake when you paint people from life, but you pose them in a way that they have to sort of remain like statues, you know, where you want to paint from life, but it's almost as if you were painting from a photograph, because you want to freeze that moment in time. You know, you want the model to have this great pose and to never move, never ever move. And it's kind of ridiculous. I was reminded of how absurd it is to just treat a model and just totally objectify him or her, and attempt to tell them, okay, your job is to just hold still. You know, that's your job, to just barely breathe, barely stay alive, and then, you know, just hold that pose as long as you can. And we become very frustrated if they can't hold it. And I think it's absurd. You know, it was very humbling when I saw this model posing, and I realized, wow, this is very, very hard for them. You know, this was a tough pose for her. This is super hard for her, and she's making this amazing effort at keeping the pose. And it's like, it's our job to just realize that and say, okay, how do I do this then? How do I acknowledge that this is going to be very hard for her, and how can I, because, you know, she was obviously, I mean, we weren't like, we weren't making her hold that pose. So she wanted to push herself to try and hold it, and it was up to us to sort of solve the way in which we would approach doing that painting, and not just feel frustrated if she had to sort of move, you know, every couple of minutes. And I think that that's what it means to paint from life. So when I say that, you know, sometimes I think about these moments, like, you know, where I catch my kids sleeping, and you know, I take a photograph with my cell phone, because that's pretty much what I do, and then I paint them later. You know, I always think, well, what if I was painting them there at that, you know, very moment? There's no way that I could do what I'm doing right now. You would have to do sort of like what Bouguereau did, which is just, you know, do your drawing, kind of like what I was doing, but, you know, you have to really, really solve your drawing initially. Work a lot in your drawing, and then have, you know, these younger kids pose, and you're not really painting them. You're doing your drawing, but what the children were there for is just to give you information in terms of color. Honestly, that's all they would be, you know, not good for. I was going to say all they would be good for, but that sounds terrible. But yeah, their purpose was not to just hold a pose, because it's impossible for a kid to hold a pose. It's just absurd. You're asking somebody to go against their nature. You know, a kid's nature is to move constantly. So even, you know, they just can't. They just won't be able to like sit still. And you could bribe them with whatever you want, but they won't. Honestly, it just won't be able. Or it's going to be hell for you. You know, for them and for you. Honestly, if you just unwilling to understand that a kid is always going to move. So, so what he did, what Bouguereau did makes sense, makes total sense, because it's just thinking that the nature of this kid is to move. I'm just gonna understand my painting process into. I'm going to break it up into two sort of very differentiated processes. So first one would be to really solve that drawing, and then the second one would be to solve the color that is going to accompany that drawing. And in that one, you could understand how the kids, them posing could be useful, but they would hold a pose, but they could move around, they could chat, they could do anything that was kind of that is relevant to their nature, but not just attempt to act like freaking statues. So no, I mean, all of this to say that this would be very much so almost impossible to do if it was a kid, like a little kid. I would have to be enormously more talented than what I actually am. But what I try to do is that I try to approach my painting as I would approach a painting from life. That I can control, that I can do, and that I can find quite useful. So my approach would be the same. I would say that's what would be most useful from working from life. That the fact that you can, I've always said this, but I can't stress it enough, that the experiences from working from life are there to instruct you, so you can, so that you can, whenever you sit down, and you're painting at your easel or table or wherever you're doing your paintings, you can sort of evoke those moments from when you were painting from life and feed them to your painting, to the painting that you're doing at your studio or in your house. Or I think that that's probably the most valuable thing that comes from working from life. It's just that experience is actually there to teach you a ton, so that you can hopefully bring that to your own work. Now, if your own work is like plein air painting, that's great, but it doesn't mean that some people are obsessed with what it means to work from life, and they feel that if it's not from life, then nah, it's less. No, I'm sorry to say, but that doesn't quite work that way, And I always tell people, what if you lied? Who cares? Like, if this amazing painting, and it's like, oh, you painted that from life, and you go like, yeah, I did. I did. Yep, it was from life. Yes, I'm amazing. Who cares? Like, it's fine. Ever since photography was invented, artists have painted from photography. So, they have used photography in certain ways that it has been like a part of their process. It doesn't mean that you are going, against painting from life, or that you're forgetting the value of painting from life. So, do both. Always do both. El óleo es óleo acrílico, es óleo. Sí, yo pinto en óleo. Sí, siempre pinto en óleo. The problem is when people have equated not working from life with being a slave of a photograph, of having to grid your canvas or project your photograph, or doing all these sorts of things that are that almost like strip the voice of the painter out of the process. And that's where there's a problem. Soy muy fan de tus trabajos. Gracias, muy amable. So that hand that hand looks nice. I actually want to keep them a little simpler than the rest of the painting. I don't want these two hands to be like super tight on the, like over here. It just wouldn't make a lot of sense. They're way too far down to be such an important part of the painting. And there's like, you know, there would be an empty strip in the middle that I wouldn't like. So because the portraits are like in the upper part, then there would be nothing. Although there's a really nice like she has like a Minnie Mouse shirt on. And I think I'm going to do it in the end. So, but I would much rather have the hierarchy would be, this would be the most important, then this here, and then that middle part. You know, so your eye can kind of go and do this. But if you do that, and then you move straight down, and you're like, oh my God, look at those hands, I love these hands, and you just stay here, and you're missing like 90% of the painting over here, then, you know, who cares about those hands? They were robbing the other parts of the painting from their deserved interest. So I'm going to try and make them a little looser. So without, you know, it doesn't mean that I'm just, you know, I'm just going to do them haphazardly. Like I still have to solve them really nicely. So I think I'm missing like one little stroke over there, and then I'll go to the other hand, and then we can further develop them if I see that something is missing still. But this would be like a very nice block in for that hand, and yet, you know, it could serve as a solved. I mean, I feel they're resolved, so I wouldn't have to push myself to just insert more detail, just to keep pushing to give it more detail just because. Okay, let's see. And it's such a small hand that the natural feeling would be to just kind of take a small brush and just bombard this with like tiny little details. And I feel that that's the one thing that I want to try to avoid, because it doesn't make a lot of sense if I do that. That's cool, and I have to go back and do these tiny little darks. What did you use for the mix of colors? I have a very small palette that I'll show in a little bit again. But I'm very much so using variations of my primaries, which in this case again are like a cadmium lemon yellow, a cat red, and a cobalt blue. You know, they're very, very saturated, you know, versions of primary colors. You'd be hard to find, in terms of pigments, possibilities that are a lot more saturated than that. So I'm using variations. What I mean by variations is that I have like a puddle where I kind of mix all three, but then I can make it, you know, then I can start kind of veering off that puddle so that it's dominant to yellow, or it's dominant to orange, so that would be cadmium lemon yellow and cad red, dominant to red, which would be cad red, dominant to purple, which would be cad red and the cobalt blue light, dominant to blue. So you can always have that puddle sort of shifting to all these hues. And that's really cool, because you have a base color, which is the intersection of those three, and then you can start gauging if you want it to go more towards the blue, more towards the green, more towards the yellow. depending on what you're looking at. So that's what I usually do. So I think that hand is nice as a base. And let's go for this one, because this one I wasn't really happy with. And I'm going to start with the arm first also, because I've noticed that a lot of problems with the hand come not from actually doing fingers, but it comes from the hand not starting out at the right place in terms of the structure of the arm. It doesn't follow like the gesture of the arm. So I need these darks here, which are very nice for the shirt, but they also give me like they give me a nice reminder of what the darker dark around those, in the surrounding areas of that arm and hand looks like. So it's good to just kind of put it down and have it there as a reminder. Yeah, the drawings here is not great. So it's probably like over here. Over here. That's not bad, but this was way too sort of thick for her. This was way too thick over here. And this, what I was saying, describing about that curve in that hand that goes this way, and that one goes that way. So what I was saying is that it kind of peaks over here, peaks in terms of how close it is to the tip of the finger, so it peaks and then it goes back down again, that curve. Let's see. It's a little weird still. I'm not very happy. I think we'll see. While I'm painting it, I'm going to be very mindful that there's still something that kind of bugs me about it, but we'll see. It's funny because this, in terms of value, is quite close. I mean, it's not super close, but it's close to that value, actually. It just changes in temperature. It's just really a lot warmer. It gets darker here, underneath that thumb. The finger slightly bends here at the joint, and then it kind of goes a little darker. Same with this one, and then this one's beautiful. Like the little pinky is bent, kind of like that one. That's kind of, it's bent a little bit harsher. That's what's happening with this hand. But it's very subtle. That's what I'm missing. Ugh. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Sorry, I already went over Spanish already, but did you fill us on the crowdfunding project? Oh, yeah. So I think I think what I don't think, like, this is what I'm going to do. Because I actually talked to some people that are going to help out here in Bogota. Some, with the help of my sister, I was able to speak with some representatives at the bank, and they're going to be very helpful in helping me get the helping me get the funds for the project in an account here in Colombia. So there's not going to be any trouble, any foreseeable trouble in that sense. Hopefully. Now what I have to do is just some legal stuff, like a bunch of paperwork, so that I can do that. Because again, everything that I want to do has to be done correctly. I mean, in terms of taxes and in terms of obeying the law, We're going to do everything the right way. So I don't want to make any mistakes in that sense. So I think that is probably going to work out really well. But I've decided to do the so the editorial part of the project I can crowdfund. So that means that the book that I want to do on these, these small paintings I've been doing on my sketchbook and some drawings, I'm going to do. So that's very exciting for me because I really love making really nice art books. So that's going to be super cool for me again. But the education side of it, I am going to do through a YouTube channel, and that's going to be free. And that's going to, I'm going to do these courses that are going to be open for everyone, and what I've thought about that one is that I'm going to try and do the things that I actually make my students do. I'm going to do those exercises myself, and I'm going to let you know why I'm making those exercises, why I think they're useful. So if you start painting, how I understand they're useful to a person that's starting out, and why I think that you should go about, doing these paintings in the way that I propose to you. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a YouTube channel. So the cool thing is, not going to charge anyone for that. But I would love for everyone to support the book that I want to make. So, and that one is going to be, I think that's probably going to be up in the next month. So I'm very happy. I'm super, super excited for that. So hooray. Yay. So excellent. But I everything that I've talked about, education and education costs and people interested in painting, I feel that this is not competing with, this doesn't mean that it makes up for college. I am the person that I am because I think I had an incredible experience at my art school. I was blessed to have the generous teachers I had. I was blessed to be part of some years in our school where we were there were very, very talented people there at SVA when I studied. And you were able to learn not only from your teachers but from your fellow students. I understand that educating yourself, through a website or through online courses is not quite the same thing, as going to a really good art school, a really good and healthy education in a very good art school, in a very generous art school. But, a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people in the world can't afford to go to these places. So I'm not really thinking of replacing any of that, because that, honestly, the space, what a university means, the place where you encounter other people that think differently from how you think, and they, you socialize your beliefs, and you put to test everything that you sort of know, and you share it with people, and people, make you second guess yourself, and they challenge everything that you believe in also. That can't quite be replaced. That encounter with actual human beings, that can't be replaced. But what I can do is attempt to share my experience with paint with other people, and I think I can do that really well, and I can do that very happily, and I feel that that's what, that those are some of the things that have become almost hard, they've become really hard to find in many places, in many sort of formal institutions. So that I will share gladly. That that sort of the sort of